So you want to bet on the favorites this week at the Wyndham Championship? You got to know one thing. There's going to be a ton of rain in Greensboro, North Carolina. And what does that mean for these star players? Sung Jae Im, Billy Horschel, Siwoo Kim, among others. Well, we've got one stat that you really need to be thinking about this week that you probably haven't seen anywhere else. It's Chalk Talk, Benny Betts. And we have dug through these numbers, waiting for the tee times on why. If you want to look at some of your favorite players on who to bet on, Benny's going to tell you why you should wait to bet on Cam Young, Sung Jae Im, Akshay Bhatia, Shane Lowry, Jordan Spieth, Will Zalatoris, Justin Rose. Long list. Why wait on them, Ben?
We've got our featured groups, of course, just going off the 10th hole in the first round. Whenever that gets started, as you mentioned, the rain, we don't know exactly when we're going to get going, but eventually they'll be going off the 10th tee there at Sedgefield Country Club. And look, holes 10, 11, and 12, as you see right there, they play over par. And the 14th, it's the hardest on course. So chances are that these guys in these featured groups might start slow. So if you love them, I'm just telling you, at least take half your unit size back and wait for those 5 holes. They might get an early bogey. They may have no birdies. We know you got to go to 20 under to win this thing, generally speaking. But you might think, oh no, such a slow start. That could be good for your juice, for your odds. As soon as they've tapped out on the 14th, as long as they're not 4 over or something. Although, who knows? Tom Kim came back from 4 over, right? Quadded the first hole when he played this and won it. So there you go. Have a wait. Sit there. Be ready to pounce as soon as they get through that 14th hole. Jump on them on the outright then if you love them. And you're going to get some juice.
And even for people who might be new to gambling on golf and making picks, it would feel like a foreign concept. Why would I wait? Don't I want to do it early on? You can, number one, bet whenever you want throughout the entire 4 rounds. So yes, any of these players on this list, let's wait a little bit. If they go under par on those rounds, on those 4 holes, then you're in trouble. But Ben did this stat for a reason, and he's going to steer you in the right direction.
Yeah, like again, and the front 9 is the easy 9. So the players starting on the front 9 at the same time are likely to be putting up some birdies.
Yes.
So there could be already 2 or 3 shots behind as they go through those 5 holes. And yeah, your 18 to 1s are going to be 22s. Your 25 to 1s are going to be 35 to 1s all of a sudden. And they're still in the tournament because they've gotten through that hard part. Then they can get their round started. They'll probably be playing lift, clean, and place. As I said, they'll be able to take dead aim from there.
Yeah.
It's just smart. Look, if you are worried a little bit, you think, oh, what if they do play it well? Yeah, if they play those holes well, of course, their odds may dip a little. So then go with the half-unit strategies, as I said. Whatever the amount you would normally bet on them for the outright win, put half of it on now and at least hold half of it back for after those 5 holes.
So there's a couple of things with the weather that we want to discuss. And we've also kind of gotten into this whole idea of we could finish on Monday, we could finish on Tuesday. We really have no idea. I mean, torrential downpour Thursday and Friday. They have flood watches in Greensboro, North Carolina right now. So what Ben's been doing is looking at the players who have played their best in the rain. Benny, what'd you find out there?
Well, we had 10 events so far this year on the PGA Tour where they've had preferred lies in action because of wet conditions, whether that be for the whole tournament or just a few rounds, etc. And then we've had 2 of the majors as well. Obviously, the Open Championship and the Masters started with a lot of rain as well. So if you put those 12 events together and you find out who's performed well, look what you see here. Cameron Young is the mutter of the year. Like, he's got five top 10s. Now, I'll couch this. 2 other guys also with 5 that are not playing this week, named Xander Schauffele and Scotty Scheffler, who seem to be able to play well.
Yeah, this is just the field. This list is the field this week.
Right, the field this week. But you see there, as I said, Cameron Young, he's proven that when it is wet, he can contend. Whether or not he wins, we've had this. That's a whole other discussion, isn't it? Whether Cameron Young can handle the furnace of winning when it comes to it, well, that's up for debate. But he should seriously be in contention again, given that he's proven that he's a mutter. Aaron Rai, another guy that we know. I spoke to him obviously earlier in the week. I have him as my top 10. Then this came up. I was like, how good's this? And of course, your favorite, Sung Jae Im, another guy who has performed on the wet weather tracks. So it's interesting to see that, certain players have been proven in these conditions. I think that that's a big factor this week. It's not just obviously I can handle wet rough, I can handle this. It's the stoppages, it's the annoyances, it's the wiping off your equipment, it's the feeling uncomfortable if it's wet out there in the rain. mud balls, whatever it is that comes up, you have to be able to handle it. And so I think that's really important this week. And look at that Hayden Springer. I think he's 150 to 1 or something. Maybe that's a new long shot for everyone out there. He's had top 10s this year, all in the wet.
And let's just, for context here, this list is the entire field of 140, 150 guys, whatever is in the field this week. This is the entire list of who's played well in the rain multiple times. I love the fact that Akshay Bhatia and Mac Hughes, two of my picks this week, did well in this category before I even picked them. That makes me feel a little bit better about them. And just because your player that you may want to pick doesn't have great performances in the rain, recently, doesn't mean you don't pick them. But Ben, you made the point of guys who may have played in the rain better in the past, like 8 months ago, is different from players who played well in the rain a month ago.
Yeah, again, one player not on this list that worries me, if you will, after I did the research, was my outright pick earlier in the week, Billy Horschel, right? I'm thinking, wait a minute, what's the problem? But he has one top 10 in the rain, and it's the most recent rainy tournament we had at the Open Championship. I think you can maybe stretch it, or maybe I'm trying to help myself out here and help my pick, but him and Justin Rose is the other one that has a recent performance in the rain. I don't mind that as well, but someone who's had just one top 10 in the rain back in February and hasn't done it well in the rain, I don't love. But these guys on this list are the ones proven to be able to do it more than once, couple of times, showing that they can handle that situation. And then, Cameron Young is obviously, that's a big jump. And I know I mentioned those other two stars. That's it, though. If you look at the guys that are three, that's it.
Yeah.
Right? There aren't any guys that aren't playing. There may be one guy that's not playing, etc. And that's the majority of the guys with two as well. They just happen to all be playing in the wet here this week. So it's an interesting scenario. As I said, we dove into those numbers, and it was cool to see that a few of the Golfbet picks came up before we did this research, right? Like you said, I'm on Rye. You yourself had picked Hughes and Akshay. I think that we also had a pick for Eric Cole. That might have been one of my long shots. It's all there. So it helps to sort of solidify what we already knew, right? And you see, like Shane Lowry's there, okay? No, one of the chalk. He's an Irishman. He knows how to play in the wet. He's used to this stuff. It is going to be a factor, right? If you're a flat track, if you're a sunny weather player, you're not getting that this week until at best Sunday, right? And it's still going to be soggy underfoot. There's a significant chance that the first round won't complete until Saturday this week. That is how the forecast looks. The first round will complete on Saturday. That's what we're facing. Such is the amount of rain that could be coming.
We can talk more about the rain and the potential issues in a minute. What we do want to pull up now is the key stats that we look at throughout the week. Our key stats video earlier on Monday tells us the exact stats that the previous winners had done the best at, the reason why they won at the Wyndham Championship. So we correlate that to our top 5 odds getters, our chalk this week. Sung Jae In, Billy Horschel, Shane Lowry, Siwoo Kim, Cam Young. Those are your top 5 on the board. There you see their odds. We're looking at their driving accuracy because that was our number one key stat of previous winners at Sedgefield Country Club. Their strokes gained approach combined with their strokes gained putting, because that was a massive stat. All the winners were top 5 in both of those combined. And then our very unique one, which we can kind of talk about if this is controversial, how the winners had done the previous 5 events leading up to their win, because we had found all of them had 2 or more top 10 finishes in their previous 5 events leading up to that win, which means they were playing good enough golf leading up to that win at Sedgefield. So we've got this big list, Ben. We can go through all 5 guys here if we want. What sticks out to you the most on this list? I know you already talked about Horschel. You can start with him, start anywhere you want.
I'm going to start with the big duck egg there, 0, that's staring me in the face on Siwoo Kim's top 10s in his last 5 starts. Because, like, Siwoo, he's going to need to, obviously, you look at those numbers, the top 2 are actually really good. 14th in driving accuracy, 12th in strokes gained approach. That is great for this course. 150th in putting. Clearly, if he putts that standard this week, he won't win. He needs to have an improved putting week this week if he's going to contend on a place where he's contended many times before and it has in fact won, right? So he's going to have to lift his putting game. But what do we feel about this form? He hasn't missed cuts, but he hasn't contended either. He hasn't been in that furnace for a while. Are we comfortable that if he does get back there, he's just going to fall back into, yeah, I'm a winner, I'm a former players champ, I've got this covered? Or is he going to have a few butterflies and a few issues? I'm fascinated to see that trend that you found if it comes up and if it continues, because that obviously counts him out. It counts my guy out too.
That's that's why I have Siwoo top 10, not to win, top 10. His stats are way too good at this course. His results are way too good at this course. I like him top 10, not to win, exactly for that reason. You mentioned Billy Horschel. The guy, I don't know. I don't like your pick. I'm sorry. I'm worried. I know Will had brought up to you the other day on Roundtable about are you worried about his WD, his withdrawal at 3M? I think that was more so saving face on, just not wanting to play after an emotional week. We don't know what the truth is, but that's just my guess. Am I worried about his putting? No, because it's already historic for him. His approach game, I don't know if I'm willing to say it's a concern yet, but I don't like the combination of his driver and his irons at this moment.
No, that's clearly an issue. As I just said about Siwoo's going to need to have a good putting week if he's going to contend. Like Billy has to have one of his better approach weeks.
Right, which is harder to do.
Yes, but the fact is he's proven to be able to do that out of nowhere in the past. So that's why I have a little bit of faith. Look, truth be told, we had to make our pick this week really early, right? Our outright pick really early in the week without having done a huge amount of research. The more research I've done, I've slid away from confidence on Billy Horschel, right? But I'm going to stick to my guns and I'm going to go with him because I put my foot down at the beginning and I don't like changing late in the piece because the minute you get off someone that you've been on, they burn you, right? So I'm just going to ride him. I'm not fully confident. I have seen things come up. As I said, even the top 10, even the wet weather track, I was in my head, he had contended in more of the wet weather events, not just the Open, etc. But I will say I've seen him do it in person on a few occasions where he's picked his iron game up for a particular week and looked like a world beater. He's a FedEx Cup champion we're talking about. He's won the Memorial, where he's streaked ahead of a massively impressive field that year. It's there in him if he's got his head in the game. Again, and I think he can handle... it's not the Billy Horschel from the real early days where everything would frustrate him and he'd fire up at this. He's a measured guy when it comes to stuff that's going on. He can handle this. So I still have a little bit of confidence. We'll go further into these numbers.
Yeah.
Sungjae Im again. We're seeing why essentially he's the favorite.
Yeah.
Because we've got another 3 top 10s.
Right.
He's a mutter. But the other numbers there don't give you super confidence that he's a 14-1 super favorite, right? It's an interesting scenario.
It's him and everybody else. I mean, look at him compared to the other 4 players in terms of odds.
And you've brought this up multiple times this week, and I'm going to hammer it again. We just don't see him do his best when he's expected to do his best.
And that's a legit fact. I mean, that's stuff that you can easily say, it doesn't matter, every week is different, yada, yada, yada. But what the only proof in the pudding is, when Sungjae is a favorite, he doesn't do well. So you can say it's a cop-out, but it's true.
Yeah, let's go back full circle to that first slide where we talked about when it comes to Sungjae Im. He's starting on the 10th. 14-1. We can wait. We can wait for those 5 holes. He might make an early bogey or 2. Then you can jump on. You're going to get sort of more relative value. Maybe you'll be up at the 20-1, 22, 24 if you get lucky. And then he can rebound from that, much like Tom Kim did the year that he won the tournament. So it's there, as I said, to wait on those guys, especially with Sungjae. Cameron Young, should we go over to him?
We know how we feel about Cam Young. I mean,
the putter's the same.
The putter's the issue, but
the mind.
There's a lot of issues then, Ben, because if the putter's an issue, we know the mind's an issue. Cam Young has the skill set to be a phenomenal player, but you look at his numbers, they're not great. What has Cam Young done in 2024 that makes you think, oh, his stats are so good, he's right there on the precipice? I mean, This isn't a couple of years ago when he was finishing top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10. Clearly, something's not clicking at this moment. So I understand why he's a favorite because of his potential. I just don't see the benefit of betting Cam Young to win anything right now, especially when you got to do him at 28-1.
Yeah, if you like Cam Young,
Bet him top 10.
No, or even look at top five's fine. If you want to take a risk,
right?
Get the juice on top fives, right? And have him go. We said, look, the reason why this week is he's the mutter. We spoke about that. 5 top 10s in the wet. That gives you a chance. He also went to college, Wake Forest, not far. It's amazing he hasn't played this event yet.
Yeah.
You would have thought he would have done that all 3 years. I think the fact he was going so well in his rookie year is why he didn't need to play the Wyndham Championship. He was gearing up for the playoffs. So he has ties to the area. But all those other factors, the putter when it comes down the stretch, the temperament when it comes down the stretch, are things that 28-1 isn't enough value for a win, right? Again, he's playing those
40-1, 40-1. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, look, if he streaks out there after those 5 holes, then sure, let's have a little unit on him and see if he can make a comeback, right? Like that's possible. But for me, even I would even wait. For me, I'd be waiting on getting on the top 5 bet. If you can get a live top 5 on him after 5 holes, if your betting operator does that, has live top 5s, that would be my bet with Cameron Young after 5 holes of the first round.
We haven't talked about one player that's left, the only one, Shane Lowry. He's coming over from Paris. Yeah. Call it a big letdown. I mean, there were some expectations and some hopes for him in Paris to do well at the Olympics. It didn't happen. You know, basically the debacle on the weekend of the Open, what happened to him late. Again, I'm shocked his putting is that bad because there has been knocks on him in the past that he can't make the 4-footers when he needs to. I didn't think that's been an issue, though, in 2024. So I'm kind of surprised that he's below average when it comes to putting.
Why you see that, Chris, is what people are remembering is he's had some lights out putting weeks. He's actually had some weeks where he's been ridiculously good. The PGA, 3 rounds of the PGA Championship, his putting was off the charts, and then he had a regression. So that's the issue, right? That can he do it for 4 straight rounds? Can he keep it together? I don't know how much we can put on, and this is why I'm just not sure on Shane Lowry, to be quite honest, is that was an big emotional Open Championship that he has a letdown from. You know, he goes to the Olympics, doesn't medal there. You know, how much of his energy is still left, right? To be out there. Yes, we know he's Irish. Yes, we know he can handle the wet, but it does bring your energy down, right? When you're playing in those conditions, when you're trying to get through, you have to spend effort, a lot of effort. He's a guy that's already secure in the top 70 of the FedEx Cup. He's a guy that, doesn't need to play well this week to move forward. So I'm just a little bit worried about the motivation as things get a little grubbier and wetter and messier at those odds. Again, right, it comes down to what I'm talking at those odds. Do I think he can win? Yes, of course, he's good enough to win the tournament.
Not at 25.
I just don't know whether I want to jump on at 25-1 with all those other factors. Another guy who I'd be waiting at least through those 5 holes, or even he might be one I wait for the first round. Just, if he plays great and he comes down to 12-1, then I can go, all right, I'll still jump on now at 12-1 because I think he'll kick on. I would be a wait and see for the entire round, probably on Shane Lowry.
Before we say goodbye, we've hit on all the chalk. Before we say goodbye, let's do a little fun game here, Benny. With the terrible weather, let's each give our odds for when this thing finishes. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'll start so you can think about yours. Sunday, I'm going to go plus 500. Monday, I'm going to go plus 110. And Tuesday, I'll go plus 250.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Although I might say Sunday be about plus 1,000. Or maybe 3,000. I totally forgot. We did speak about this. I was supposed to get all my wet weather gear on, wasn't I? And turn up with me brolly and whatnot. Thankfully, I'm not out there in the rain at Sedgefield. I'd maybe go plus 1,000 for Sunday. Monday would be the favourite because they'll try everything they can to get it in for a Monday finish. Remembering that we need to get to FedEx St. Jude Championship. We need to get the playoff start.
That has to happen.
Yeah, and again, that's why they may push to Tuesday. Everyone's like, well, why would they go to Tuesday? Just call it 54 holes. Probably
players
not.
have to get in the top 70. I mean, like, it's going to be a
Correct. There's a
big
lot
stink
at stake here.
if they
There's a
don't.
lot at stake.
Yeah.
There's guys with a chance to be in the top 70, and it's the 125 list as well. All of those things are on the line that they'll do whatever they can to not finish this thing early. They'll try to finish it through 72 holes. So, look, it's a wait-and-see week, but it's an exciting week nonetheless. Heaps happening, not just in bets, but, of course, in those FedEx Cup standings, and it'll be a great start to what we have coming forward in the playoff season.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button there on YouTube. Chalk Talk for Golfbet. We'll see you next time.